Disclaimer.
You wake up, it's January 1st, 1999, what do you do first? Am I in my 1999 body in life or in my 2023 body? 8 years old, thanking my parents for the snack, but yelling at them that this is not what I meant when I said we need to buy Apple. It would raise a myriad of questions for me if my 8 years old suddenly started giving me financial advice. Honestly, if a young child of mine began giving me extremely specific financial and business advice at 8 years old, I'd probably go along with it. At worst, it's a bit of money lost. At best, your child is apparently some kind of wizard and you're 100 million up. When my son was in high school in 2005, he said buy Apple. We did. Granny Smith, Red Delicious, what did you get, M? The only acceptable is Honeycrisp. Cosmic Crisp. Funny story, I tried to get my dad to buy Berkshire Hathaway stock instead of doing a real estate project. He didn't. I don't really blame him. But, the stock would be worth about $7.7 million now. The building project lost money, so, yeah. My brother begged my dad to buy Microsoft when they went public, but he didn't. He also went to college with an early Microsoft employee who cashed in her stock ASAP. She got $50,000 and used it as a down payment on a house, but imagine holding on to that for even a few years. I live in the Seattle area, so Microsoft was well known to college students and computer geeks in this area long before they were a household name. Edit, forgot to add my dad eventually did buy some $M stock, but he got it at basically its highest price and never made much from it. Coulda, shoulda, woulda is the ever-present stock market feeling. Obviously an IPO is a long ways from a startup, but if I didn't have a house? Shit, a free $50,000 to guarantee me a decent shot at financial independence through a mortgage? I wouldn't think twice. Betting on a tech company to be the next huge thing is risky. Not too many, tech companies have done what MS has. Them and Apple. Sounds like she wasn't at the point in her life where a $50,000 gamble was worth and took an exit plan in line with her risk tolerance. Good on her. No one ever lost money selling at a profit. From what I remember, she had no regrets, and yeah, you have to look at the time and place a person was in. You just got out of college and the company you work for has an IPO. It wasn't a given in 1986 that $M would end up being this giant, so not the worst thing to cash out and buy a house. Of course, a lot of those early employees ending being multi-millionaires, so there had to be some regrets selling out so early. When I was in high school in the late 90s or early 2000s, I asked my parents for a share of Apple stock for my birthday. They didn't. My mill likes to involve the grandkids in stock purchases, and in the early aughts, my nephew wanted Apple. So grandma bought it. That single purchase was enough to pay for all of the grandkids' college. There's still a couple of kids left, and it sounds like she'll have some left over. It feels weird. I remember my dad explicitly telling me when I was young that if I knew that a particular stock was going to go big, he would buy it. I think that was just him trying to explain to me how the financial markets worked, but he was also a man of his word, and I don't think he would have minded actually doing it. Sounds like your dad was testing to see if you had woken up that day after arriving from the future. When I was a kid, I begged my mom to buy simple word domain names, even a couple single-letter .coms were still available. Got told no. We were far ahead of most people as far as home computers and internet access. Stepfather's program he made cover of an Amiga computer magazine, for instance, but for some reason they couldn't see how big of an opportunity open domain names were at the time. It hurts to think about. I was a computer science student back in '97. Was told that I needed to focus on business languages to fix the Y2K problem and not games or web development, as there was no future for it. Yeah. So, here I am, working for a living. Edit, I just want to clarify that I dropped out of my CS track and got a degree in nursing. I had nothing to do with saving the world from Y2K. My anecdote was more to point out that even people in the field can lose sight of trends and whatnot. But the world didn't implode in Y2K, so, thank you. Assuming this is a time travel scenario and not a dream scenario where everything was made up in my head, I would start by proving to my parents that I time traveled by showing them things I couldn't learn at the time, such as solving calculus problems. Then I would tell them to buy Apple. I'm not entirely certain I would want anyone to know I'm a time traveler. I'd rather let opportunities pass me by than blow my cover. Plus, I'd have no warranty things would play out the exact same way they did in my original timeline. I would feel safe if my parents knew, but no one else. But yeah, we have no idea if every random event gets re-rolled. That alone would cause history to change dramatically. Yup. That's why I'd bank on the constants. It would be easy to learn whether or not the laws of physics hold true, so it would be easy to get an education in the right field, and knowing what I know about the job market now, I'd leapfrog my position way faster than I did learning as I went. I'm not certain my parents would keep it secret, but then again, who would believe them? I want to have my 1999 body. There's some shit I gotta change and things I need to invest in. Edit, this post has me feeling my age. I would be almost 7.25 years old on that day, so I would have to deal with the struggle of people ignoring me because I'd be a child then. Hearing a lot of people say that they wouldn't have been born yet is making the hairs on my head and face turn gray. Same. If I'm going to remain my current age, I'd rather just stay where I am now, otherwise, by the time 2023 rolls around again, I'm going to be in my 50s. Then again, being in my 50s now with well-timed Apple, Amazon and Bitcoin investments is probably a worthy trade-off. Bruh, the real problem with going back and being the same age is no valid ID. I've got a driver's license that isn't how they were made then, a 24-year discrepancy with my SSN, and the money in my pocket is bills that hadn't been printed yet. I'd be completely effed. If I go back and I'm 12, I don't have to figure out how I'm going to survive, I just have to convince my parents that I know how to get rich. I'd have zero problems. Having a baby face would pay off for once. Be the bleeding edge of remote work so nobody needs to see your face. Hell, people don't even want to see IT's face anyways. Panic, because I would have to go through high school again. With the knowledge I have now, I'd run that place within a month. Or you would just be a weird kid. I've thought a lot about this type of question, since it gets posted every month. I think anyone going back with the life history of someone 20 years older would kind of fuck them if they end up younger than their 20s or 30s. Family would likely accept you as you are. But how do you hang out with your old friends? You're all kids, but you're not the same anymore. Interests, maturity, personality, all drifts a bit. Dating would be weird to possibly creepy, especially trying to find someone you are with in the future. Try to preserve any current things you have would be hard. How would you court your future partner? You know too much about them, the early dates could get weird fast. How do you do things better without breaking key moments that went right for you? Will changing things, for either personal gain or world betterment, affect the future you came from? My take. I mourn the life I had, my child, the people I loved. Then do something completely different. Don't try to recreate my past, because I can't. You'd be setting yourself up to fail. If you go back as a kid, you may have knowledge, life experience, maturity. But you're still in the body of a kid, the biology and brain chemistry of a kid. It wouldn't be exactly like a 40-year-old in high school. Very good point. I would still be in middle school. I was a super late bloomer and didn't have a girlfriend until after high school, so I guess I didn't really think about those aspects. Hanging out with peers would be weird, and the future stuff would be weird as well. It's different if you are older. I graduated in 1982 from high school and was already 35 in 1999. I had mostly the same interests and friends I still have now, but then was in much better shape. I guess I'd go hang with my friends, earn some money, and sell my vested stock immediately rather than wait like a dumbass. But mostly hanging with friends and gaming at the table. With my current knowledge? Try not to freak out my parents by talking like I'm 32 years old. Exploit any and all knowledge of the future for financial gain. Enjoy the fuck out of the pre-9/11 world for the next year and a half. Edit, sorry, little over 2.5 years. Woohoo! Oof. Didn't realize I wanted that last one. Question is, would you make the effort to warn everyone? You'd be called a loon and crazy, but you can't just sit back and watch. If I woke up then, I still have a few months with my cousin. Her death is something I can't change, but I'd be thankful for the extra time. You could call in a bomb threat to the World Trade Center the morning of. You wouldn't be able to avert the plane strikes, but you'd save literally thousands of lives. My sincere condolences. You would spend the rest of your short time left being tortured in some CIA dungeon if you call in a bomb threat the morning of 9/11. Actually stopping 9/11 would probably disrupt the future a bit. The amount of things that changed after September 11th is unreal. But a warning instead of actually attempting to stop it is different, so I guess? First buy Lehman and other bank stock but sell in 2007 and put it all on Apple and then short the banks. I mean, if you want to maximize gains with as little as possible. I think buying/mining Bitcoin at the very beginning is the best way. Sell it back when it hits 69K. When I was a freshman in high school, I went on a trip to Washington, D.C. There was a part of the day where we were all supposed to be in groups, but I just went and did my own thing. I guess everybody just assumed I was in a different group. I took a tour of the Pentagon. I wandered around in the basement of the Capitol. I don't think either of those things were possible after September 11th for normal citizens. The worst part about this history is that the terrorists won. I don't have any praise to give here, but it's hard to deny that they won. They achieved everything much of what they set out to achieve. It took Americans to do the lion's share of the work, but the state of American democracy today should speak for itself. It's not as if everything was peachy before September 11th, but America's response to 9/11 bred a specter of nationalism that's still bearing its teeth today. I feel that. If I had to go to 1999, I feel that 7-year-old me would die because I don't have easy internet access. My family had a family desktop with dial-up that was the worst. And I wasn't allowed on the internet since we only had so my dad could finish his degree. You can also watch other videos by going to the channel. I will be pleased if you like them.